This past Sunday we celebrated harvest, and just as there is a physical harvest that we see and there's physical laws of reaping and sowing that we see, it's the same in the spiritual world. Jesus often talks about a spiritual harvest, and he uses harvest as almost a great metaphor to what will happen and ultimately what is happening right now. And we see that in Matthew chapter 9, Jesus talking to his disciples, he said that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few, and therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. Jesus, when talking about the spiritual harvest, says that the harvest is plentiful. And I think that in our time, we can see that people are hungry for something, right? They might not even know what it is, and yet there's a dissatisfaction. There's almost like I can't live up, or I can't measure up to, or I can't find whatever it is that I'm craving or whatever it is that I'm missing. Just a couple weeks ago, I read that 40% of evangelicals say that they shared the gospel with somebody in the past year, and that 70% of non-churchgoers said that they would be open to hearing the gospel. And so there's kind of this disconnect, and it looks like it happened in Jesus' time as well, where the harvest is plentiful. People are hungry to hear, and yet he says the laborers are few. There's few of us believers who are willing to kind of step out to share the gospel. And we live in a time when we can say people don't know the truth. People are confused about who they are. They don't know why they're here. They have no idea what's going on around them. And as Christians, we have answers to those questions. We know who we are. We know who God is. We know why we're here. We know about sickness. We know about death. We know what happens after death. We know what a man and a woman is. We know what life is. We know what sexuality is. We know about all of those things because God has revealed them to us in His Word. And Jesus Himself said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And the church has the Word. We have that which people are hungering for. And so as the church, it's our time to step into those questions, to step in faithfully, to be there to answer. No, life is supposed to be, life is about Christ. It's meant to be lived for the glory of God. Here's the gospel. Here's why we're in sin. Here's why the world is as messed up as it is. That's why there's the good news of Jesus. Jesus came to save us so that we are no longer in sin and death, but we now have eternal life, right? Like we have that. We have that gospel. It's our time to begin to share. And so with our groups, here's going to be a great discussion. Share some of the experiences that you've had maybe on a mission trip or maybe in the local community or your everyday life when you have been able or were able to share the gospel with somebody. And be honest, because those aren't easy conversations. The first 10 to 15 seconds tend to be a little awkward, and then it gets better. So be honest with one another when discussing that. And then in verses 35 and 38 of Matthew chapter 9, what we just read, really focus on verse 37 and 38 because there's something that we are to pray for, and just want to know your thoughts. Why is it that we're praying for what verse 38 says? And so dig into that, try to figure that out. And then the last one, why are there so few laborers? Why are there so few of us willing to engage at that kind of level of preaching the gospel in that kind of way? And so hopefully that leads to fantastic discussions. And again, the harvest is plentiful. Let's be praying for the laborers. Blessings.